Hello everyone, welcome back to my 10-minute book review series. I am Rafayat and today the book that I'm going to be reviewing is called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This is one of my most favorite books of all time because I have learned so much from this book. It has completely changed the way I see money and how money works. In this book, the author talked about his poor dad, that is his own dad, and his rich dad, who was one of his friends' dad. He saw his poor dad always struggle to earn money. However, his dad had a PhD and had a really reputable job, but it seemed like his dad could never earn enough money. Their expenses was almost always equal to their earnings. One day Robert was really interested. He wanted to know how to become rich. So he went to his dad and asked, "Dad, do you know how to be rich? Do you know how I can make more money?" But his dad couldn't give him any proper answer. Instead, his dad went on going like, "First you should get a nice degree, get good grades, and then get a good job." But it didn't make sense to Robert because his own dad, he had a PhD, he was working in a reputable job, yet he was still struggling to earn money. So what he said didn't make any sense to Robert. Then later, after a few days, Robert talked to one of his friends' dad, who was not very rich at that time, but soon became one of the richest people in Hawaii. So when he asked his rich dad, that is his friend's dad, how to earn money, instead of studying to earn a degree, you should always try to learn things. And his rich dad told him that learning is more important than the degree itself. This is what we people in the society nowadays don't understand. We always go to really expensive universities to get a good degree for the certificate, but we often forget that what we learn from those degrees is more important than just the certificate. Because at the end of the day, it's what you learn that's gonna help you in life. Maybe your certificate, it's gonna help you to get a job, but the learning experience is far more important than the certificate. Now let me ask you a question. How do you define someone as being wealthy? Well, there's a lot of ways to define wealth. However, the author said that imagine yourself in a situation. Imagine you quit from your job and you only survive on your savings. How long can you survive without doing any work or anything? That is how he defined wealth. The longer you can survive without doing anything, the wealthier you are. Now the thing that the author talked about most in this book is assets versus liabilities. Think of it this way. Imagine giving $50,000 to a homeless person and a wealthy, successful businessman. How is the $50,000 gonna turn out to be? Maybe a few years later, we would see that when we give $50,000 to the rich man, after a few years he'll make the money 2 or 3 times as much as he started with. But in case of the homeless person, after a few years he'll just end up being homeless again. Now why is this so? It's because the rich person knows how to make money work for them and make more money, but the homeless person doesn't. Let me give you the secret why this is so. Because rich people know the difference between an asset and a liability. Now, how do we see a person being rich? We always define rich, the wealth, and how rich a person is. We judge it based on what car they drive or how big their house is, how expensive their phone is. We define it based on those stuff. But what we don't know is the money they're investing behind the scenes. If we look at behind the scenes, we're gonna see how they became rich and how they keep on becoming rich. It all depends on the distinction between assets and liabilities. Now, what is an asset? Asset can be things like stocks, bonds, investments, real estate. It's basically things that if you invest in, that has the capacity to generate you more money in the future. And what are liabilities? Liabilities can be things like your house, your car, and anything that takes away your money in the future. Why is a car a liability? Think of it this way. For example, you can buy an expensive car or a cheap car. If you buy a Mercedes, then of course you have to spend a lot on the car's maintenance than if you compare it with a, for example, Toyota Prius. The Prius is of course going to have a lower maintenance cost than the Mercedes. That is how we should see it. How much money it's going to take away from us in the future. So it's always important to have a balance between how much you invest in your assets and how much you earn on your liabilities. Now this doesn't mean I'm telling you to live like a homeless person, to sell your house and stuff. I'm just telling you to keep a balance between how much you invest in each field. Because you should always try to invest in the asset, and when the asset generates money, then use that money to buy things that you like, maybe a car or a house and those stuff. But investing in asset is always more important than buying expensive stuff that you like and showing off, because showing off is not going to get you anywhere. You want to be rich in the long term. You want to keep on growing rich. You want to make money work for you instead of you working for money. And you should always try to improve your financial IQ. Now, how to improve your financial IQ? Improving your financial IQ is about learning more about accounting, learning more about investing, getting an idea about how the investment and everything works, and getting a little bit idea about the law, specifically the tax laws and the financial laws in your country. The author also talked about how the government is charging you tax and taking away your money, and that you should always look for loopholes in the system in order to pay less tax. Now this doesn't mean I'm telling you to stop paying tax. You shouldn't do that. You should look for loopholes in the system in order to pay less tax, but don't do anything illegal. I'm not trying to promote that. I don't want to be in trouble. A lot of people doesn't know that if you invest in a corporation and if you know how the tax system works, you can save a lot of money than if you invest in some other kind of business. So learn about corporations if you own a business or if you are going to own a business in the future. And at the end of the day, we should always remember that our mind is the most powerful tool we have with us. And this is something that has unlimited potential. We can't even imagine how much we can use our minds, because mind is like the most powerful source of information. If we use our minds properly, we can do anything in the world. Everything's possible. And just being smart and intelligent is not enough. You should use your mind, but at the same time you should always be bold. By being bold, I mean having the balls in order to take action. Because if you just talk and if you just think and if you do nothing, that's gonna get you nowhere. You have to be able to get out of your ass and do what you're saying. Because it's only being smart is not enough. Being bold and smart together is what is the Krabby Patty secret for being rich. So this is some of the ways by which you can get rich. That is the Krabby Patty secret. So let me know what you think about my summary. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. And I hope you like the video. If you do like the video, please subscribe to our channel. And we'll be coming up with another book review next week. Until then, goodbye. Be rich.